The Pete Carroll era started off with a win, 20-13. The Raiders take down the Patriots on the road. This time on Sin City Beat, we're breaking down everything silver and black from week one. Let's do this thing. Sin City Beat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hey there, thanks so much for joining us here on Sin City Beat. I'm Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. Joining the action on the panel today, we have Ray Brewer, managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun, Levi Edwards, digital reporter for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's back, Q Myers, talk show host with ESPN, the Las Vegas Sports Network, and host of the show Unnecessary Roughness on Raider Nation Radio. So thank you guys for being here. It's good to have you back, Q. So let's start with this. It's obvious there's been a significant culture change with the Raiders, both on and off the field. Week one was an opportunity to steal a win on the road and make a statement, and this team did both. Q Myers, what surprised you, and what's your big takeaway from the Raiders' win in week one?
What surprised me is the fact that they came out with a passing attack. They came out and we all believed that it was going to be run. The weather was terrible, so hey, run the ball. That makes all the sense in the world. And instead of being able to have that rushing attack, to see Geno Smith have the kind of performance that he did was big. And not to mention the other weapons that he has around him, from Brock Bowers to Big Mike to Jacoby Myers and others, step up and make these plays. That was big to me. But what was even bigger surprise was the fact that we saw second half adjustments.
Yes.
And that's something that we could say for a long time covering the Raiders, that we haven't seen second half adjustments. So all of a sudden they go into the locker room, Pete Carroll comes out, talks to the reporter, real calm, cool. Yeah, we're in this. We just need to stop beating ourselves. And then all of a sudden, boom, they flip a switch. So that was something that I think Raider Nation not only got excited about the win, but got excited about the second half adjustments, because, again, it's something we haven't seen in a long time.
1,000%. And producer James and I are, in the back office talking. It's amazing. It's funny how much just a head coach and a quarterback can change an entire organization. Levi, what was your take on week one and the big takeaway?
Really, my big takeaway is really just how competent the defense looked in the second half, because I think that was the big question that we all had coming into the season, was what was this defense going to look? You have 8 new starters, secondary is completely different, and it was interesting because you talk about the second half adjustments, Q. I feel like the Patriots and the Raiders completely switched game philosophies at halftime, where the Patriots were doing a lot of stunts, they were doing a lot of disguises, and they were attacking the middle of the field. Got away from that completely in the second half. And the Raiders did exactly that in the second half. They got a lot of different blitzes. They got home with Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuntz. Really good games from both of those guys. Attacked the middle of the field with Brock Bowers. And they threw a lot of disguises with Jamal Adams kind of doing his thing as the linebacker in coverage. So really, it's like they completely flipped. The second half adjustments is what was needed, and it showed as to how they were able to hold the Patriots to 3 points in the second half.
New England only threw the ball, or ran the ball twice in the second half.
Yeah, which was weird.
I was really shocked by that, too.
Yeah, and I mean, Drake May had a really strong first half. It
Yeah.
looked like he was really dicing up the defense. But, Ray, I'm curious what you think, because opening drive, we see this team on the road, and it looks like, oh boy, we're in for a totally different look for this team after that opening drive. What were the thoughts going through your head as you're watching this game?
So it's just, you bring up that first drive, it's obvious there's been an upgrade in the coaching box. Great initial script by Chip Kelly, getting multiple people involved. Beautiful touchdown to Trey Tucker to start it off. And it's like, Genty with a good run, get Bowers his first touch of the season. And that first drive, I think, gave him confidence that it's like, okay, this isn't the Raider of yesteryear. We've got some competency. And I've said this before, but in years past, it kind of felt like a fire drill all the time. And you always thought you weren't going to get out of the building. And they were just, to me, there was just this calmness and confidence. And it starts with Geno, who brought that maturity of the veteran quarterback. And then Pete Carroll just knows how to win.
It's true. And you watch him, he looks bouncy in the pocket. He's calm, cool, collected. I mean, it really, he was slinging the ball. And it really felt good to see the team matriculating down the field. And the puzzling thing for me, from a takeaway standpoint, is, Travion Henderson is a guy who everybody was talking about, didn't really have a strong showing. Genty gets the 19 carries, only 38 yards. It's not like we saw him pop
Right.
the way that I think everybody thought. We got about 30 seconds here, Q. What was your just thoughts on Genty? And I mean, yes, he got in the end zone. It looked good, but he still has so much more to show us too.
If he's on the field, he's effective. He was effective on the field because they had opportunity to do a play action pass, and they have to respect that now.
Yeah.
Genty's on the field. He could run the ball, so now play action even worked, even though he only had the 38 yards. I know he'll do a lot better than that moving forward. The offensive line's got work to do, but Genty's a threat just being on the field.
Okay, there you go. All right, so we have to do some deeper dive on Geno Smith, I should say. Next, the panel is going to react to his first game as a Raider.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
Sunday was a solid debut for Geno Smith. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 362 yards passing. But in my opinion, Geno's quarterback play was much more than the stats you can get from a box score. He brought calm, he brought poise, he put this team, the Raiders, in a position to win. So Ray, what's your reaction to Geno Smith's first game as a Raider? And I know, on this show, you're known to be a little grumpy when it comes to your takes on Geno Smith. So after that first drive was, as I was eating a tortilla chip, the first thing as I was crunching on that chip was, I can't wait to ask Ray this question. So tell me, what's your thoughts on Geno's debut?
Well, completely right. I've been anti-Geno or not totally sold on Geno in the offseason, but you have to give credit where credit was due. He was more than a game manager. He made every throw when it counted. His interception was a deflection. He brought calmness to the offense, and everything looked smooth and crisp, and there's so much more that they could build off of. Sometimes I thought that the offensive line didn't give him great protection. Obviously, Genty didn't go off like we thought he would. I was shocked that he had, 18 carries. It didn't seem like that much when watching from home. But Geno, was everything you thought you'd get when you hire a 30-something vet quarterback to be your.
So just to follow up with you,
yes,
I'm
sir.
curious. Do you now see the difference between Aiden O'Connell or a Gardner Minshew? These types of. Do you see now why he's a top 15 guy?
Correct. He was a top 5 passer last year in total yards. And while the signing to me wasn't sexy, he certainly delivered today. And I'm man enough, Mike, to say I was wrong at least for 1 week. Let's not overreact on one game across the league. But he's obviously got the Raiders in a spot where, we're sitting here high hopes,
And chime in, guys, but this feels so much different. A head coach, a quarterback. There's adults in the room now. Doesn't this feel a lot different?
It definitely feels a lot different. You can just tell, even when I was talking to my coworkers who were at the game, just the vibe of the locker room, the vibe of the huddle, just a lot different. And Geno has a command of that huddle. He has a command of that locker room. A quote that he said yesterday after the game that I thought was the coldest quote. He was just like, I'm me, and I'm not going to change. I have confidence. I know who I am. And that's why I don't worry when I step on the field. And you could just tell that yesterday, 362 yards. I'm not trying to date anybody on the panel, but he broke a 45-year-old record for a Raiders debut as a quarterback. My dad was in high school. My dad was in high school the last time that somebody threw for this many amount of yards in their debut. So that's insane for him to come out in the rain.
And
rain.
It's true. And you know what? I think there's a lot of things we're going to get to in the show. We're going to talk defense. We're going to do predictions for next week. But I do want to make sure we mention, Q, before we get to your thoughts on Geno, Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly did a really good job.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
He
was impressive. He's the best offensive play caller the Raiders have had in a long time, right? And I've been wondering what it was going to look like this whole training camp leading up to it because we know they haven't shown anything. But Levi's at practice, I'm at practice. We know what we've seen, right? And so I know that this play calling has a chance to be really special. And I feel like that the scripted drive, the very first drive, like Ray said, scripted, cool. They went out there and executed it. Then they were like boxers in the ring where they were kind of feeling each other out, trying to figure out what worked. Coming out in the second half, man, Chip Kelly looked like he was on his game.
And how nice is it just to, even if you have that scripted first drive, to get in the end zone and make it happen. So I think it's a nice thing. Real quick, 30 seconds. What's your just thoughts on Geno? What are you are expecting from him for the rest of the season?
He brings confidence. He's just an upgrade at the quarterback position. I think it's pretty obvious, right? It's not the sexy a free agent pickup or trade that other teams could have made. Well, we get that, but it's an upgrade. And 9 passes and completions of 20-plus yards, right? That's big. When's the last time the Raiders did that?
Yeah.
You want to talk about dating people, date that. I mean, that goes way back. So I just thought that he has a command of this Chip Kelly offense, and anyone goes back to what he did at West Virginia knows he could be a high-volume passer. In college, he was the guy. Those offenses at West Virginia were fantastic.
Tavon Austin was no joke there.
Right.
Hey,
West Virginia, they were able to get it done.
joke.
So I'm not saying
Producer-
it's going to be that, but it's going to be good.
Producer James, that's what he does. He just watches highlights of
Yep.
Tavon Austin. That's
Yep.
his. That's
It's
his,
the greatest college football highlight reel that's out
Sedman
there.
Bailey.
You just became
Tavon
James's
Austin,
guy.
all
But
those guys.
that's not an opinion. It's truth.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I got my producer in my ear saying that's a fact. So you guys are on the same page. Guys, the hidden story of the game, the defense. How shocking was the defense's display, and is it here to stay? All right, listen, anytime an NFL team is held to just 13 points, the defense deserves an applause. And the Raiders' D came up big. There seemed to be a serious shift after halftime. Second-year quarterback Drake May was picking apart the team in the first half, but the second half, totally different story as the Raiders held the Pats to just a single field goal. So Levi, how impressed were you by the defense, and do you think this level of dominance is here to stay?
I think in some components it is. In some, they're definitely going to have to make a few more adjustments. I think the run defense is here to stay. The way that they played, the way Devin White was able to perform, get downhill. Max Crosby's really good at setting the edge. I think they're here to stay. I think that they're going to be one of the better run defensive teams in the league. The pass defense in the second half is the big thing that I was really surprised about, that they were able to make adjustments on. They were able to be a lot better with pass rush. So I was really impressed by that. And Drake May is a guy with a lot of athleticism, as we all know. And for them to hold him to, I think, less than 20 rushing yards is a really good thing. They can pat their back for as well, I would say.
All right, that's good stuff. And, Ray, it's interesting because, secondary talk was a big thing for a lot of the offseason. Of course, there's been some nice additions, but still there was a lot of uncertainty there. Tell us, what was your takes on the defense, and is this here to stay? Just like that old Gershwin tune. I know our love is here to stay, you and I. We love each other, but is the Raiders defense here to stay?
So I thought Josh McDaniels, now the offensive coordinator of the Patriots, the former Raiders head coach, did Vegas a big favor by really abandoning the run in the later part of the game. I didn't realize it was only 2 second-half rushes until you said it earlier. And will this be here to stay? I don't know. This is one small sample size of one game. The big thing in sports is not to overreact on one outcome. Let's see how it is in 2 or 3 weeks. They've got the Chargers coming in on Monday Night Football, which they look great against the Chiefs, and they threw the ball real well, and we know Harbaugh is going to be able to run the ball. So work in progress. I think they've got young corners as well that are potentially unproven. Well, ask me that in 2 weeks.
Okay, and I will. I'll make sure. I'll take a mental
Yeah, and you'll mention again about Geno. Of course. In June, you said Geno wasn't good. Look what he did, 300 whatever yards.
I'm sure you'll ask me about my dating life, too.
Yeah.
That's always here to stay. But, Q, the interesting thing here to me is, listen, we have Max Crosby.
Right.
An elite edge rusher, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But if Tyree Wilson develops to that first-round pick selection that he truly was, and that other side of the line is producing, we could really see this defense maybe be a top half defense in the league, I think.
The thing about it is Patrick Graham's defense is based off pressure. You have to get pressure. And the reason why it looked better in the second half is they got pressure on the quarterback. It was just that simple. Like, that's what changed in the second half for this Raiders defense. The secondary is going to be better if the pass rush can get home. And so they're starting to get home. You see Max get home. The interception that Isaiah had was based off a hit that Max Crosby had on the quarterback, and the ball sailed. So when you get that pressure, whether it's Max or it's Tyree or it's Malcolm or it's Jonah or whoever, whatever bloodthirsty pirate you want it to be, Jamal Adams, all these guys can get to the quarterback, and it makes everyone else's job that much easier. This team, in my opinion, is built to stop the run. If you look at the linebackers, they've never been anything that's been fantastic when it comes to coverage, like E-Rob and Jermaine Pratt and Jamal Adams. I think we would all agree that they come downhill a lot better, and they're able to use the block eaters in front of them to be able to get to the runner. I think that's how they're built, and Devin White told us that in the locker room before they left on Friday. He said, look, we're going to stop the run and then make them one-dimensional and let our big guys up front pin their ears back and get to the quarterback. And I think in the second half, that's what you saw.
Levi, real quickly, last word, we got about 30 seconds. It's a good point with those linebackers. Pete Carroll has been very vocal about a lot of those veteran guys that are taking over that linebacker room. Tell us about your take on the linebackers and their play.
Kind of what you were just saying, where I feel like they're really good at running downhill. They're really good run-stopping guys, which is why I felt like the run defense, what they are, what we saw against the Patriots, that's here to stay. The pass defense is the one thing that I feel like continues to need to be improved.
It's a work in progress.
Work in progress, but the one thing I will say before we go, Caillou Blue Kelly, a guy that broke out, out of nowhere, really became a starter. He looked really good. If you look at next gen stats, he had like 1 yard of separation that he was allowing to receivers, and he was targeted a lot. And he played really well, second on the team in tackles, only behind Devin White. I really liked what I saw from him.
Okay.
Las Vegas guy too, by the way.
That's a good note. Yes, I know.
Bishop Gorman guy.
Ray mentioned that last time on the show. Okay, guys, Raiders take on the Chargers Monday night. It's Monday Night Football. You got to love Monday Night Football. We got predictions for Week 2 next. All right, welcome back to Sin City Beat. Mike Davis here along with the great panel, Levi Edwards, Ray Brewer, and Q Myers. So, Q, I'm going to start with you. Week 2 is a big one. At home, Monday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium. Jim Harbaugh and his Chargers come to town for an AFC West division battle. Fresh off that victory that kicked off the season in Brazil against Mahomes and the Chiefs. Listen, Justin Herbert looked like he even took another step to that top tier quarterback we all hoped him to be. So what do the Raiders need to do to win on Monday Night Football, and do you think they will?
Well, to win, they're going to have to get to Justin Herbert early and often. They really are. They're going to have to get the pressure in on him like they did against the Patriots in the second half of the game. You can't go a first half against Justin Herbert and company and think that you're going to only be down 3 at halftime. They want to keep it close. That's their recipe. Keep the game close, be able to have an opportunity to win it in the fourth quarter, get Gentee to salt the game out with his running ability. That's not going to work against the Chargers. They're going to have to be aggressive early, and they're going to have to continue to attack offensively like they did against the Patriots throughout the course of the game. Probably a heavy dose of the passing game, more than we all expect. But it's going to be on the defense. They can't let guys run free. Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, these guys can't run free like you saw Patriot wide receivers. I mean, they really got bailed out. A couple of those guys dropped passes. There's a lot to still grow on when it comes to that pass defense for the Raiders. So they're going to have to be on their A game, and Herbert's going to have to be affected. He's going to have to be touched early. Crosby's going to have to get home. This is going to be a tough one. I know that the Chargers are, 3.5-point favorites you pulled. So, that seems about right, just because of the way the Chargers played against the Chiefs. I mean, I'm going to roll the dice and say that the Raiders are going to get it because it's the home opener, and I think that Allegiant Stadium is going to be rocking. But, man, they're going to have to come out. They're not going to be a second-half team. They're going to have to be a four-quarter team.
I mean, what this win could mean for this team, Ray, is pretty striking. I mean,
huge.
To go 2-0 potentially, get that big first win at home with Pete in that era, with Geno in this era.
They were 0-6 in the division last year.
Right.
They have to get division wins. They've already got a conference win against the Patriots. That would be huge if they can go 2-0 and get 2 conference wins.
I mean, major. Do you think it's going to happen, Ray? If you're a betting man, where would your bet lie?
So the one thing I'm not sure of is how the travel from Brazil back.
That's true.
Teams that typically go to Europe struggle in that week when they get back. Now, the game was on Friday, and there was a Monday night game, so the league's kicked in a few days. I just don't know what to think of the Chargers and their travel and their jet lag.
Your minds were like maybe a lot of Brazilian women in the hotel. Is that what you're
That's where my mind would be.
No, I'm just saying. Is that what Ray
let's just call it what it is.
It's not like taking a flight to.
I know Justin Herbert's with Madison Beer right now, but that doesn't mean Joe Alt is. He
I'm
might
just
be
saying it's not an easy, quick hour flight, and that there could be some tired legs involved, and I just don't know how to measure that. Not that going from the Boston area to Vegas is easy for the Raiders. Harbaugh and the athletes that they have offensively. Significant upgrade over the Patriots as well.
Yes, 100%.
And they're going to be able to sling it around, and the Chargers are going to be able to run the ball. But it's so enticing for the Raiders to be 2-0 after they really haven't had any great momentum since they moved here.
Yeah.
Had that one playoff appearance.
Yeah.
But to be 2-0 with this new GM and
And
this
it give them so
energetic
much
coach.
juice.
So much juice.
It would give them
Correct.
so much juice and just the confidence that they can compete.
The fan base
in a
so
difficult.
much juice. It would give the fan base so much juice in Allegiant Stadium that's desperately needed.
Yes.
Well,
'cause
the
it's been
Chargers
missing.
always, I would say when they come to Allegiant, it's kind of reversed because there's so many fans that,
Yeah.
that are Raiders fans that are at SoFi, but the Raiders don't ever really play well at SoFi.
Never.
But whenever the Chargers have ever come to Allegiant, the Raiders have played lights out. They put up 63 points on them 2 years ago in Allegiant.
Right.
So I don't know what it is in terms of kind of like that home field advantage, but I think when it comes to the Chargers, the Raiders always seem to have a really good home
It
field
feels like
advantage against
that's one of the teams that they actually have a home field advantage against is the Chargers, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of what it is. But there's also a lot of Charger fans that have come out of the woodworks now that they're actually successful and they made it to the playoffs last year, and now they start off with a big victory over the Chiefs. Look, they looked really good. Like, make no bones about it, man. They looked really good, and they didn't even run the ball that well.
No.
They just threw the ball around the yard, and Justin Herbert was fantastic. Quentin Johnston, he had a game where he looked like he needed that game, right?
Yeah.
Multiple
And I mean,
touchdowns. He looked good.
They had a second-round wide receiver in Trey Harris didn't even do much,
Right,
So, I
right.
mean, they were throwing the ball around a lot. I'm curious to see Hampton versus Genty in this scheme. Who do you think ends up maybe this is the big game where, Genty really busts out. And
Right.
you imagine how rockin' Allegiant will be if he busts out maybe a 75-yard touchdown. Something like that would be exactly what I want to see. All right, so what's your prediction? We got a win here.
I'd
Kind of-
say it's a coin flip and it lands on the Chargers' side of the coin.
Okay, toss up. And what's your prediction?
I would say just based off of the momentum and also you said jet lag, that's going to play a huge part. Also, home opener. Raiders usually always play well against the Chargers, amongst other teams at Allegiant Stadium where it does feel like a real home field advantage. I'd say Raiders. I'd say it's going to be a really close one. It's going to be really depend on the offensive line, how they
Very
block for
close.
Genty,
Okay.
like you said.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Raiders in a real close one.
All right, there
Very
you go.
close one.
All right, so we're all taking the Raiders. Ray, you'll take all the Brazilian women. And
I want to get in on that too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, look, I don't want my man on the island by
Guys,
himself.
I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat. Thanks for joining us.